Welcome to Let's Talk. Glad you can join me. Today on Let's Talk, we're going to be talking about things that are basically in the news. Also, what's going on with now that the government is back open and that EBT cards are supposedly going to be fully fulfilled by today. But there's still a lot of people out there struggling, folks. So, as we look at society as a whole, we are struggling as a society. I mean, no matter where you're at. I mean, if you're just starting out in the job world, you're going to see some changes. News I heard on the home front that within the next 2 years, excuse me, folks, up to 83 million jobs will be replaced with AI. Now let that sink in for just a moment. 83 million jobs will be replaced with AI. Now, if you really think long and hard about that, what are people going to do? What are you going to do? What if you're a young person that's just starting out of the workforce? You need to really ask yourself, is my job going to be in jeopardy? Well, with more likely, the likely so, yes, it is. Because let's face it, AI's taking over everything. And you're going to say, well, I work in a factory where I use my hands and everything else. Well, I got news for you. They got robots that are starting to do that work now. If you haven't, you need to go online and look at some of the robots that they're building now. Mr. Farley, CEO of Ford, and a few other tech gurus went over to China just recently. He saw what he said in his own words was frightening and terrifying. They have factories over there, folks, that are completely run by robots. Vehicles being put together by robots. Matter of fact, they have a factory over there that is what they call a dark factory. Robots don't need lights. They are in there putting cell phones together. These robots are in the dark. Very few humans are there just to monitor what's going on. That's it. Now, you think about that. And the AI race isn't a race for us, it's a race for manufacturers. But the real question we need to ask ourselves is this: is all this AI and all this manufacturing with robots, who is going to buy the stuff if people aren't working? There's going to be massive layoffs, folks. Massive. I'm telling you right now, you better be stocked up and you better be prepared because there's going to be a massive wave of homelessness. People aren't going to be able to afford houses. You know, that drift between the super rich and the super poor, that gulf is getting wider and wider and wider. Because it's the rich that are invested into AI. It's not the common person out here. Not one bit. But another thing you need to look at too is, what if you got a family? How are you going to support them? How are you going to take care of them? People haven't thought about this much at all, but what about, you've heard this term, maybe you have, maybe you haven't. It's called Universal Basic Income, UBI for short. It'll be basically just to keep you in check. That's it. And then it's going to get to the point too, folks, where society is going to be basically non-existent. I think there's a big change coming, and I think it's coming very, very quickly. I think that with what Trump has brought out here recently, talking about the digital currency, that's to enslave you, folks. When you have cash, that's anonymity. They can't control you. With digital, they can. They can tell you what you can buy and what you can't buy. They're going to say, nope, you don't need that. We're going to shut you off from this purchase. Or you've made one too many purchases at the grocery store. You don't need those cakes or cookies or something like that. That's how they're going to control you. Isn't that sad, though, folks, to think about that we live in a land that was based on freedom and now it's getting taken away slowly. We've heard in the stories and stuff people talk about, well, we're not a communist nation, but we're getting there. We're getting there. We've already seen it happen in several states so far. Oh, they call them American socialists, but by and large, it's communism. And it doesn't work. If you read your history books, communism never works. It just doesn't. I mean, communistic after communistic countries have failed because the simple fact is eventually they run out of other people's money. That's what it's all about. Oh, you'll hear the good stories about it. Oh, you'll get all this free stuff and stuff will be so much better. I need to tell you a story that I had a friend a long time ago that came over here as an exchange student to go to one of the universities. I got to be friends with him. And he came from a communistic country. And the first time he walked into a grocery store here in the United States, his mouth dropped open. He could not believe how much we had. He said in his country, they had to line up for certain things. You had to line up for bread at one place. You had to line up for meat at another. You had to line up for general goods at another place. And they only made so much for one day, and if they ran out, guess what? They were out for the day. You didn't get it. But when he walked into that grocery store and he saw how much food and merchandise we had, he was totally shocked. He said, where I'm from, one kind of coffee, you have multiple. I mean, he was just overwhelmed. He said, you are so blessed. That's what he said. You are so blessed. But you know, we've taken that for granted here in this country, folks. And we have. We've taken it from the backs of the people who help secure this country, make this country what it is, the people who fought and died to keep this country safe, our forefathers who fought to make us who we are, and now we're more or less spitting in their face because we're talking about taking away your rights. The blood that was shed on the battlefields, folks, I guess these people forgot about that. I heard a story just recently, was a British soldier who fought in World War II. And he had saw what was going on in Britain. And he made the comment, I wish I'd have never fought for it. Now, isn't that sad? I wonder what our grandfathers and our forefathers would say now to look what we've done. What would they say? What would they say? You know they wouldn't be happy. Not in the least. We have desecrated everything that they have stood for. Oh, we talk a good game. Oh, we're for freedoms and everything else, but the very government that we support can also take those freedoms away from you, as it is slowly being done. And it has been. Look at the backstories of the Patriot Act. There was nothing about patriotic about that. That was to take more of your rights. You don't believe me? Go to an airport. Used to be years ago you could get on an airplane without having to worry. Now you got to go through a checkpoint. A checkpoint. I mean, let that sink in for a moment. You have to take things for granted, don't you? But we don't. There was an old saying that once said about communism, you can vote it in, but then you have to shoot your way out of it. Isn't that sad? But how do we make the best of it now? Prepare. Some of you right now are thinking, Christmas is coming up. I'm having a tough time right now. I mean, what am I going to do? I will tell you right now, Christmas is not about giving. Christmas is about receiving the gift of love and saving from our Lord Jesus Christ. He gave His Son for us. He was born. It isn't about presents or trees or ornaments or lights. That's commercialism, folks. The real true meaning of Christmas is love. Pure love. I've always said this, and I've always asked myself the same question. I never seem to get an answer. How come during Christmas season everybody's so joyful and say happy and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and they're very, joyful to you and smiling, but we only do that one time a year? Why does it have to be just one time a year? Why can't it be all year long? Now, some of you out there are. And we really need to think long and hard about that. Because this is a season, truly, that we need to think of others that are less fortunate. I mean, the struggle, and then there's support. I think we can conclude both of those into this message here, folks. When you struggle, you look and think there's no support, but there is. There are people out there that are just like you, that are there to help and are there to support you. So just remember that, okay? Don't look at it like something that's negative. We've all been down on our luck one time or another, folks. We don't need to give up now. Just keep looking up, asking God for guidance and forgiveness. And have what He wants you to have. And take a look at yourself. There's other less fortunate in the world, folks. You just need to be thankful for it. Here on Let's Talk, that's one thing we like to talk about, is helping one another through these tough times. So no matter what it is, folks, just keep your head up. Don't give up, even though things look bleak. We have a winning hand. His name's Jesus, and that's our winning hand. So just remember, folks, no matter what the struggle, there's always hope. God bless you. You take care. And join us again next time here on Let's Talk. Please like and subscribe. And if you need to leave a comment or something you want to hear, please let me know. Right here on Let's Talk with Rich. You take care. Bye-bye.